Shalom, welcome back to 50 Shades of Femininity. This is your sister, your Pashana House, the Baba Yeshaya. So, I want to get right into the topic. I had a sister reach out who basically her concern is that she doesn't feel as though her husband is giving the best of himself when he's home and among his family, among his immediate family, his wife and his children. She doesn't feel that he's being the best version of himself and really just trying to put forth that effort. And I thought this would be a great topic to talk about because that happens often. And it's something that I've personally studied and read on with Fascinating Womanhood. So it just went perfect for this week's topic. Now, when he lets down at home, okay, and what that means, simply put, really is just that he may seem as though he treats complete strangers better than he does his own family. The truth is, like mentioned in Florida Scott Maxwell's book, When Women and Sometimes Men, he's tired. He's tired of performing for his boss and total strangers. Okay, and at home he would like to really just relax and be free to be at his worst, if that's how if that's what he is facing that day. We don't always have the best days, and we're not always going to be our best self. We're gonna have those days where it's like, you know what, today, I'm just not feeling like I'm in the spirit. And he would like to just be able to relax at his worst without judgment. Okay, if that's what he's going through at that time, and just being at his best at all times, struggling with the pressures associated with perfectionism and these unrealistic expectations society has set up, especially for the Israelite man, can be very burdensome. I also don't want to neglect to mention that in the ministry, sometimes when a man is set up in a leadership position, we can tend to set people on these pedestals, and it's like there's no room for mistakes, and that could be a lot of pressure as well. But going back to a man in the work field, who, if he even slightly looks wrong, it's like, oh my God, did you see how intimidating his look was, and so, like, I don't know if I've mentioned this on these calls, but I recall when my husband first began his job, and there was a young lady who was just always messing with him, just like made mention to someone that she wanted to go to HR because it's like, oh my gosh, this big scary black man, he's like he's intimidating, and it's like, I mean, damn. And mind you, my husband is very reserved, laid back. He's an austere man. He keeps it professional, but he doesn't he's not an extrovert. So when he needs to chime in and speak up, during a meeting or something like that, he will. But he's not just, if something, if something's not funny, he's not gonna laugh. If he, he's just, he's an introvert. And so it was really just bothering him that she was just always staring at him and making it seem like he was such a threat, just for being himself. And I guess it just made her feel uncomfortable that he was, not this effeminate, man in the office, and like they have a lot nowadays, who is, always putting on a clown suit, right? And so yeah, like that's one example that comes to my mind when I just try to be have sympathetic understanding to what our husbands face out there. And we see stuff that goes on the media and on the news and everything. And so, sometimes, like I said, our husbands just want to be able to come home and relax and wind down. And, I just think we have to be sympathetic to what they have to face and deal with. And just remember, sisters, that I know it can be tough when we have, it's like this angry man, that comes home from work or whatever, and it just seems like he's coming to recover, and we get his lesser side and often have to accept that lesser side as the usual experience of him. Okay, but sisters, try to accept his need to collapse. And this goes back to acceptance and humility, like we spoke about as well in one of our talks. Looking to his better side. Okay, and if need be, go back to those wife talks and listen to them and meditate on them. Let them sink into your spirit. And men get discouraged. Men who are in great positions, that have great responsibilities, they do have periods of discouragement, okay, or times when they feel depressed. And in today's world, it's a world with many demands and little security. So men are constantly under pressure and feel worried. In striving for advancement, a man may have lost rather than won the position he had been seeking, or perhaps too much is expected of him. There are demands he can't meet, problems he can't solve, or just a bad day, But I want to remind you, ladies, of something we have discussed, is that a woman has the power to break the spell of gloom and turn his attitude around. But she must know what to do and especially what not to do. All right, if she succeeds, she could be of great service in a most important way. So remember, one of the functions of a woman is to shed joy around and cast light upon dark days. Is not this to render a service? I know when I wake up every morning, I pray, to the Most High, just bless my spirit, bless the works of my hands to just serve others that the Lord has placed in my life, and to just be, that energy that my home needs, and just set the tone, uplift and love, and, shed that joy. And so, how to give true sympathy is something that I just really wanted to talk about. Sisters, suffer with him, okay? That's the fruit of the Spirit, long suffering. So sometimes you just have to suffer with your Lord, and without asking too many questions, try to understand what he's going through, share his feelings. But understand that it's not necessary to understand the cause of his problems, because a lot of times men don't like to just go into depth about what's bothering them or all the worries that they have weighing on their shoulders. Women are very expressive. We like to talk. We like to talk about what happened today, how it made us feel, etc., etc. But, just try to understand his pain and express empathy. Be compassionate, and, say something like, I know you're discouraged now, but remember, this is a dark hour that'll pass. Joy cometh in the morning. Things like that. I know you didn't get the position that you applied for, but, that just means the Most High has something better in store for you. Inspire hope in his heart that there's a brighter day ahead. Okay? Build him up. No matter what the situation is, have an unshakable faith in his better side, and express appreciation for his true worth and admiration for his masculinity, like we spoke about in past talks. And let him know that you still believe in him and his ability. try not, so sometimes we do this often without really recognizing it or without meaning any harm, but try not to minimize his problems by saying things, for example, like, you know, you're blessed, look at all of your blessings, like, life isn't as bad as you think it is. Like, try not to look at it in a negative way. Think of all that you have to be thankful for. Statements like these show a lack of sympathy and make him feel ashamed for letting life get him down, and suggest that if he were a stronger man, he wouldn't be discouraged. Okay, even though that might not be your intentions or be what you're trying to say, but that might be how he processes it and takes it as a man. Okay, pointing out blessings have merit on some occasions, but it's not sympathy. The realization that he has blessings makes his discouragement worse. It seems more inexcusable. Okay. Also, don't offer help to solve his problems. In early stages of his problems, don't give suggestions or offer your help, because this, can be something that may be appreciated later. But what he wants now is your sympathy, your appreciation for his efforts, and your willingness to overlook his errors and judgment. And most importantly, don't allow his gloom to rub off on you. Try to become that pillar of rest that he needs, and not be discouraged along the way with him. All right, maintain a cheerful attitude and especially optimism, but don't be too lighthearted. Okay, because this can show a lack of sympathy for suffering. He wants you to feel with him, feel his pain, but not be down in the dumps with him, because that's not going to make him feel any better either. So it's about balance, and in some cases it depends on the husband. It might just be best to just lend a listening ear and be silent. Pray for your husband and just comfort him in other ways, by serving him and just loving him, knowing his love language. All right. So also, it's interesting to note that when a woman is discouraged, her needs are different. Okay, although she wants sympathy, she wants something more from a man, because we look to our husbands to help us, to guide us in times of trouble. He's our protector, our guide. They problem solve. We look to them for answers sometimes. He's our advisor, our counselor. Okay, so, but understand that a man is different, and it's not her advice that he hungers for. Okay, no matter how much he may need it, her sympathy and comfort in the restoration of his confidence in himself, all right, is truly what he needs. And that's just another difference between men and women that I wanted to point out. Also, when our husbands face failures, okay, that's a particular time when they need sympathetic understanding as well. And this could be a time of agony for a man, not so much for the failure itself as the humiliation. Or if his status at work is at stake, this is something that could be very troubling and certain time in his life that he's just never felt worse. His protective feelings for his family, to provide for them adequately, is ever on his mind. And if he's leading a congregation, a flock, a ministry, that's something that's ever weighing on his shoulders as well. And if he has to lower his standard of living when it comes to financial things, he faces the painful realization that he must subject them to humiliation, and discomfort. The wife who can meet her husband's failures with understanding and be sympathetic. Has the fineness of character to adapt to humble circumstances, meets a need in his life that nothing can equal. That's something that is far above rubies. Like that's priceless to find in a woman. And a man may never fully appreciate his wife until she's put to the test of his failure. His defeat is her golden opportunity to show her true worth. Okay, when a woman meets such a crisis with sympathetic understanding and the strength of a noble character, her husband can come to truly have a great deal of respect for her and love her as he never has before. But just remember to show sympathetic understanding for his role in providing the living. Say things like, I'm beginning to understand that, you have this heavy responsibility to provide for me and the children, and I want to cooperate in every way that I can to make life easier for you. All right, and he might want, if he's open and in that place where he can feel comfortable to talk with you, he might want to discuss ways that you can do this. Okay, so be receptive and make sure that you stay just humble. And if he is discouraged, just follow the suggestions given on how to give true sympathy. Okay? And thank you for tuning in at 50 Shades of Femininity. I pray that this was a little edifying and helpful for someone who might be facing the same type of situation as the other sister that I was counseling. And so, shalom, sisters.